Hey, welcome back to the Ping Pong Flick Show. My name is Chris Wong. Quite a few DCEU updates, so let's start with that first. Joaquin Phoenix signs on to play the Joker in low-budget origin movie that shoots this fall. This is coming from BatmanNews.com. Way back in February, we heard that Joaquin Phoenix was in talks to star as the Joker in an upcoming origin movie. And today, The Hollywood Reporter says that it's a done deal. The Joker will be part of a new brand of DC Comics movies at Warner Brothers and won't be connected to the DCEU. Instead, it will be a much lower budget movie in the $55 million range and more experimental in tone and content, according to The Hollywood Reporter. The Joker will be an exploration of a man disregarded by society that is not only a gritty character study, but also a broader cautionary tale, Warner Brothers said. The Hangover's Todd Phillips is directing the Joker. He also co-wrote the script with the fighter Scott Silver. We had heard the legendary Martin Scorsese will be producing the movie, but that news wasn't confirmed by The Hollywood Reporter today. The Joker will begin shooting this September in New York City. A release date hasn't been set at this time. And now this is part of what they're calling the DC Dark, DC Black that they've reported on earlier. Not part of the DC Extended Universe. Quite interesting to see how this movie turns out. Is it gonna be straight to streaming? They have not said anything about a theatrical release, so I'm very interested to see what movie this is. Is it gonna be is it going to have DC on it? Is it going to have a DC Dark on it? Are they going to be another different universe? What's going to happen with this? But it's very much intriguing to see that this is actually getting a green light right now. It's a go. It's a go, including that Jared Leto movie possibly coming out after. Who knows? But we'll see how this turns out. Joaquin Phoenix is in talks to star as the Joker. Now it's a done deal, according to The Hollywood Reporter. So, man, wow. I am ready. I am ready to see what Walter Hamada has in store. What is his idea for this new cinematic shared universe or split shared universes? Who knows at this point? Or are we just making solo films from now on? Speaking of solo films, because of Skyscraper, Dwayne Johnson's being asked about his Black Adam movie because we have not heard anything of it. Dwayne Johnson recently sat down with Film Starts for an interview, and it was there he revealed that Black Adam could start shooting in early 2019. He also teased that some DC characters will appear in the film. When talking about when the film would start shooting, he said, "With Black Adam, I don't think we're going to start early next year. Early next year right now, it looks like I'm going to be shooting Jumanji. And then after that, if everything goes well, I'll shoot a movie called Red Notice with Rawson Thurber, again with Gal Gadot, and another actor yet to be named. But Black Adam possibly at the end of next year. It's coming along great. The script is coming along great. We're very happy with it." Johnson went on to tease that some other DC heroes may show up. Without giving anything away, there might be maybe a cameo or two of some of the other DC superheroes. We'll see. That's been the beauty of Black Adam as we've been developing it as it is, that we could make a movie that just stood on its own too as well, but that's also the beauty of those universes coming together at DC. And so later in the interview, he did say that DC Warner Brothers is still reconfiguring, putting together and trying to and we know that, we all know that by now what Walter Hamada is trying to do with the DC universe. We don't exactly know his plan for this. I'm still saying that it's possibly these two cameos is most likely Superman and Shazam, or aka Captain Marvel, as we've already hinted. I mean, his own representative is also the representative of Henry Cavill as well. So Dwayne Johnson and Henry Cavill share the same representative, and they both have the same agents, and they'll probably be in the movie together sooner or later. We've always been teased about Black Adam fighting Shazam, Black Adam fighting Superman, and we've seen that already in the comics, and so it seems most likely those are the cases, and that can be quite a powerhouse movie. Right now, nothing yet, and I'm still waiting to see what that slate is at San Diego Comic-Con. Hopefully Black Adam is part of that slate, but I'm thinking they're going to see how Shazam is first, and once Shazam is hitting out of the park, then we'll maybe get into more of the magic world, right? Speaking of Shazam, okay, this is interesting. Shazam, the Wizard, has finally been casted as Jamon Hanzo cast. I totally butchered that name. I totally apologize about that. I can't. This is a hard one to say. But he is the Guardians of the Galaxy star. Jimon Hanzu is jumping into the DC pool next year as he now joins the cast of Shazam. He will be playing the part of the Wizard, the ancient guardians of magic who is seeking a successor. The Wizard has defended ancient Egypt from evil for over 3,000 years and passes his powers on to Billy Batson, who becomes a superhero when he says the word Shazam. This is coming from the Entertainment Weekly, which is kind of interesting because I thought it already finished filming. Unless like Randall, was it Randall Kim? Was it Randall Park, who was in Aquaman? James Wan said he is now a certain character in the Aquaman, and people thought that he's just started shooting it, but he actually shot him earlier. They're just releasing the news now, so maybe this is the case. They've already shot him in this movie, and now they're shooting him now. Of course, this could be possible one of the little either reshoots or just additional shots, VFX shots. I'm sure the Wizard has a lot of VFX things going on, and maybe he's a lot of green screen. That's why he's not actually from the movie set. It does not appear in the movie set. So I'm very intrigued by this. It is different from the Wizard you see, the Gandalf-looking Wizard that you usually see in the comics. And it feels like they're going like the Lawrence Fishburne being Perry White, and we're playing around with that, and I'm all for that. I think he's an interesting and fantastic actor, and it's great to see that they're spreading out like that. So he is gonna be the Wizard. Whoa, okay. So we're getting really into the mysticism in this point. I am very intrigued by Shazam. I gotta see what this trailer is. There's got to be a trailer coming out San Diego Comic-Con. I really think so, because it's coming out early next year. This is the only con, right? From what I believe, this is the only con, big con from here till the movie's release. So they're gonna come out. They're gonna come out swinging, and I think this is it. Speaking of when I was talking about Superman stuff, apparently Henry Cavill had spoke to Square Mile today about a little bit about Man of Steel. And this is what he had to say. While fiercely proud of Man of Steel, Cavill implies its story was intended to catalyze the more traditional heroic version Superman for the direct sequels that remain unfilmed. The killing of Zod would have led to a wonderful reason why Superman never kills. Not he never kills just because his dad said no one day. So one day he made the decision himself because of an impossible scenario, to which he then said, I don't care if it's impossible again. I'm going to find a way to make it possible in the impossible. We didn't get the opportunity to show the other side of it, the I'm ready to be Superman now, and I'm ready to show the world the best examples. That's where the joy and glee comes from, and that's the sense of warmth from the character, which is his real superpower. He makes people believe in themselves. It was a shame because it would have been nice, and it would have been a lovely coupling with the seriousness and depth of Man of Steel. He cites the complex, introspective Superman for Tomorrow as one of my favorite comic books. I would definitely like to tell a story like that. Clearly, he has unfinished business in the Cape. There's an opportunity to keep on telling Superman stories and getting them exactly right, showing the things like hope and joy and that wonderful power of his to make people believe in themselves. So, obviously, he wants to play Superman again, and he's a terrific Superman. Superman, and it's kind of sad that we keep having to explain why he had to kill Zod in that. You know, people make up all sorts of weird things, like saying he could have took them out of there and things like that. That controversy can go on forever and over. A debate, a movie that's been out for like over 5 years, and I mean, it just shows how much the strength of this Man of Steel movie and how it's still in our culture, still in our public eye, still in our conversations, how incredibly important that movie was, and how incredibly the questions it asked, how incredibly more depth in that movie than a lot of these other comic book movies. You know, they aren't afraid to go places where comic book movies are afraid to go. You know, they are not afraid to go there, and I'm glad they do, because it implies that it's Superman being real, what he would do in our real world situation here, in our environment of the humans in this society right now, and how they will be treated. And it doesn't shy away from parents being exactly that. Parents hoping their kids will make the right decisions, but also think about themselves. And even though you're invincible, you just got to think about yourselves a little bit. So I'm glad that Henry Cavill seems to be on board still yet with Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, Zack Snyder's Superman. He is wanting to film those Superman sequels, so hopefully we get to hear something about it at San Diego Comic-Con or even before that. Now, I know John Campea has been spewing some interesting things on his little channel, where not little, he's got quite a big channel, but he is saying that he's hearing rumors that Henry Cavill is out as Superman, even though he himself says he does not believe that and does not report it, yet he said it anyway. But who knows? I don't think that's the case. I mean, he also said Ben Affleck was going to be Batman. Then we heard that Ben Affleck still wants to be Batman. So, I mean, all this will be cleared up hopefully at San Diego Comic-Con. These questions need to be cleared up so we can move forward with what is intended for the DC Extended Universe from now on. I mean, it's just hard. I mean, we got so much things going on. Obviously, Henry Cavill is also still disappointed in Justice League. I can see it in those words there. He never got to see the Superman that maybe we could have seen. Obviously, they was doing the hope and optimism thing before Zack Snyder left. Zack Snyder filmed that part where he ripped open his shirt, so he did that. That's all Zack Snyder stuff. That's all Superman stuff. So hopefully he can shine one day. Hopefully we get some more Superman. Speaking of Justice League, yes, speaking of Justice League, or possibly something else, Zack Snyder posted on Vero today where it shows a Ray Fisher in the gym. He's shows his back is all muscular and stuff, and it says big at Ray Fisher in the gym, getting ready for what? What is he getting ready for? Now, this is obviously probably a picture from the past, from when he was getting ready to be Cyborg. Of course, if we put on this tinfoil hat right now and protect ourselves from logical explanations like it's just a photo from the past, it's just an advertisement for Vero, it's just Zack Snyder trying to look in the past or tell how big Ray Fisher has become because of Cyborg. If we are to avoid all those logical conclusions, let's go into looking at that right now. Ray Fisher's back. Ray Fisher's back. Ray Fisher is back as Cyborg. Is that the depth of this picture here? What is he trying to say? Is Ray Fisher back? Is he getting ready? What is he getting ready for, right? You can go back to when Ray Fisher says Saturday celebration. We're now thinking that could be San Diego Comic-Con Hall H, which is on a Saturday. Everybody is pretty much gonna be there, right? We're thinking a little bit. At San Diego Comic-Con and Hall H, we know Gal Gadot's going to be there. She's Wonder Woman. We know Aquaman's going to be there because he's Aquaman. Aquaman's coming out next month. I'm sorry, this year. And then we know possibly that they're going to maybe announce The Flash because we already have the directors of The Flash. We've got Ezra Miller. We've got the writers involved in everything. It looks like it's going to be starting shooting soon. Everything is going planned. So Ezra Miller is possibly going to be there. We know that it's possible that Ben Affleck still wants to be Batman, that Matt Reeves may come out on stage with Ben Affleck as Batman. We also know that a Superman sequel could be in tow, as with Henry Cavill. Who does that leave us? That leaves Ray Fisher as Cyborg. Is he getting ready, pumped up, because possibly there's going to be an actual Cyborg movie is going to be back on the slate? Or how's this? Maybe we're getting ready for the Snyder Cut. Now, if days go by, it's 11 days now to San Diego Comic-Con. If every other day a Justice League member shows themselves getting ready, then oh my god, what are we counting down to here? Are we counting down to some type of Justice League Snyder Cut news? Who knows? But that's if we don't let logic get in the way. So having fun with that. We'll see what comes up. If Zack Snyder keeps posting on Viral, and it appears that he may be ramping up or not, let's see what happens with that. Now, there was an interesting question that was posed by a fellow viewer, and also even Dave, the film junkie, and other people on Twitter today. And I wanted to get a little into that. And this is regarding Steppenwolf, right? Steppenwolf right now, as we see him, looks pretty weak. And he looks very milky, and the CG is not that great. We already know this. He also does not look a bit like what he used to look like in Batman v Superman, and also in some of the concept art, and also in the previs he looks hulking. The horns are different. It's not poking up, it's actually more going this way. It's more like a bullpen or a bull, and so he looks totally different from the movie that we got in the theatrical cut. So people are wondering that if and when we get the Snyder Cut, is it gonna be that version, the one we see in the theatrical, and a more finished, polished version of that, or are we gonna revert back to the original? Now, there was rumors that Steppenwolf was supposed to look like the one in BVS, the one in the previs, and the one in those concept arts, not like the one we saw in the theatrical cut. He looked more beastly, bigger, more girth, and actually a lot more terrifying, if you ask me. But I don't know if Zack Snyder would have changed. He doesn't seem like the type of person who is really perfectionist in detail to actually alter that design in order to a different design altogether than what he's shown in Batman v Superman, because that doesn't quite fit how that would look like that. And but it comes into question, well, when was it? When would we ever get that Steppenwolf that was in Batman v Superman? Was it originally done that, or was all that part of the previs, and Zack Snyder had changed that type of a Steppenwolf to what we see now? So that's a huge question, a big question. And then it got me thinking of, when did we actually see the Steppenwolf, the theatrical cut of Steppenwolf? Because for a long time we didn't know what Steppenwolf looked like, other than the Batman v Superman deleted scene, but it's also part of the Ultimate Edition, which Zack Snyder calls it in the director's cut. So if you were to look back a little bit, his first special Comic-Con footage, which was published by Warner Brothers Pictures, it went out to worldwide on July 23rd of 2016. We know he was still working on it. He just pretty much finished filming. or started filming it rather, and he hasn't gotten too much, but he was able to cut a little trailer for that. So that's no big deal. We don't see too much of that. We also got the Justice League trailer #1 that was published on March 25th of 2017, and at that time he was still very much part of the program. He was still making the movie. Of course, at that time he's already gone through a loss, and Zack Snyder also, you see him doing things like he's working on his birthday for Aquaman, so he's doing a lot of that kind of stuff. But within this trailer, you still don't see any sign of Steppenwolf. You have parademons and such, and nothing. So I would say that this trailer #1 was completely unaltered by the studios and stuff. Only when you get to the Comic-Con sneak peek, the Justice League Comic-Con sneak peek that came out in July of 22nd, 2017, and this was for that Comic-Con. This was for the Comic-Con of 2017, right? And at that time already, Zack Snyder had already stepped down, or reported to be stepped down by the Hollywood Reporter on May 22nd of 2017. They released this trailer at Comic-Con 2 months after he officially stepped down. Okay, is it possible that during this time Warner Brothers had already gotten in motion to change a lot of things, the designs and such, within Justice League in order to be the movie they wanted to be? Or, because even though the official notice of Zack Snyder leaving in what came out, it could have been before, set ahead of time, and it's Warner Brothers has started to alter some of the visual effects and stuff. Maybe had Scanline or something start making a different version of Steppenwolf to make the ending battles and all that visual effects, the battles and stuff, to be different from what Zack Snyder had envisioned. So it's quite possible, because this is the first time on July 22nd, 2017, 2 months after Zack Snyder is reported to have stepped down, this is when we finally see a glimpse of Steppenwolf in multiple scenes. A glimpse, and it's very fast, very quick, and it's, yes, you could say it's just to hint and tease at the main enemy, main bad guy, but I'm wondering now, I'm just kind of trying to put the pieces together to see is it possible that Warner Brothers had already started trying to change Zack Snyder's original idea of what Steppenwolf looks like beforehand, before he even stepped down. Maybe they were behind his back doing some things, very shady type stuff. Or is it really that quick to change, to totally make a character in 2 months? I don't know. I'm not a visual effects artist. I don't make any models and stuff like that. I've done some basic type stuff in my college days, but nothing to the level of this detail. And having them show it really quickly and probably really polishing it just for these few seconds in a trailer could just be enough to get it past. Possibly, maybe. But that does comes the question of if and when we do get the Snyder Cut, are we going to get possibly the original Steppenwolf, which I like very much, the original Steppenwolf from the previs, from Batman v Superman, that huge hulking figure that looks like menacing, much more menacing in the concept art rather than the theatrical cut that we got. That remains to be seen, but I truly hope that when the Snyder Cut comes out, that it's going to be that version of Steppenwolf and not the one we saw in the theatrical cut. That's my own opinion, and that's my hopes and dreams anyhow. Alright guys, well, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.